A tough loss for the Rams as they go into bye week. Hello, everybody. Terry Bennett here on the Jack Powell Ford Mineral Wells Football Show, right here on S2S Sports, part of L4 Media. As the Rams fall in a tough one to a very underrated, godly team. I mean, they're not world beaters, but I think they're better than what people think they're going to be this year. 31-14. It was a weird game. You had Mineral Wells kicking a field goal at the end of the half, only to have a penalty. So they got another chance and then another penalty. And then they got the ball. Like the ball went 25 yards down the field in penalties. And then they tried to go for a touchdown on the last play of the second half instead. That fell incomplete. You had a pick six. You had a fumble at the goal line. It was just one of those games that happened 2, 3, 4 times a year for teams that are solid, good teams. You're going to have these games where things just don't go your way. Now, the thing that you're trying to do when you're building a program is eventually those are the games you still figure out and find a way out and get a win. And that's where Mineral Wells is still learning that process. They get the much-needed bye week, and then boom, next week they start district play. And 3-4A Division II is going to be a real interesting one this year. We want to thank our sponsor, Jack Powell Ford. You can find him online at jackpowellford.com. It's really awesome now the way car shopping is. Me and the wife got a new car in May, and, you know, the process is just so much easier. We just went on Jack Powell Ford and we just saw what we could afford. And the way you do that is you get pre-qualified. And so then you know when you go to a dealer, this is what, I can afford. This is where my payments are going to be. This is the vehicle we can look at. And you're not wasting your time trying to find something that might be either not enough for your budget, and that can happen too. You don't want to, you think, oh, I'm saving money, but if you're not getting the car you need for what you need it for, well, then again, that's how you get pre-qualified, and you can check that out. And then, of course, if it's too much, you don't want to waste your time and then be disappointed when you're told, hey, sorry, you can't afford that. So you can check out jackpowellford.com, get pre-qualified, then go out to Jack Powell Ford and see what you can. You can even look at their whole lineup of vehicles that they have right now on their lots. You can look that up online as well. If you do need to call them, give them a call, 940-654-2714. And we do appreciate Jack Powell Ford for being the sponsor for the second year on the Mineral Wells Football Show. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, it's the head coach of the Rams, Coach Cody Worrell, to talk the loss against Godley, his thoughts on district play opening up next week, and what did Mineral Wells and Coach Worrell do during the bye week? We'll find out after the break. Do you have a kid that plays sports? Are you yourself a weekend warrior? Then I'm going to tell you something. Check out NeuroGuardPlus.com. That's NEURO GuardPlus.com. It's a mouthpiece that can not only help with concussions, but can dramatically affect the way you perform. And the mission of NeuroGuard is to, of course, reduce the risk of suffering a concussion when participating in any contact sport, military, anything that you're doing physical that you could take a blow to the head. You might want to put in a NeuroGuard mouth guard. And as I said, it not only helps eliminate concussions, it helps you perform better by simply aligning your jaw properly. And that sounds like such a simple thing, but it is so important because it allows oxygen to get to your brain. And when you get oxygen to the brain, you don't have that fog of sports or that fog of war where you get confused. And if you've ever played football, you know that's a sport where that can happen. Especially, man, you're in there in the trenches and you take a shot to the side and all of a sudden things are spinning. This mouth guard will help you keep focus by, again, simply keeping oxygen going to your brain 100%. Again, check them out, NeuroGuardPlus.com. And if you play sports, if you have a kid that plays sport, if you do something physical, one of the things that Dr. Hutchinson, the creator of this, was talking about was some people will use it when they're doing yard work and when they're mowing and things like that, where they're being physically active because they know it helps align their jaw and it keeps oxygen going to the brain, which also helps your lungs, by the way, when you can have full breath every time as you're performing. So again, check them out, NeuroGuardPlus.com.
Hi, I'm Josh Bell with the Miami Marlins. I wear NeuroGuard to help with strength and coordination when I'm in the weight room and help with balance when I'm on the baseball.
Bringing it back here on the Jack Powell Ford Mineral Well Football Show. Now joined by the head coach of the Rams, Coach Cody Worrell. And Coach, your first loss of the season last week against a tough, godly team. What were your thoughts? It was an odd game.
Yeah, no, they first of all, golly, they're very, they're well coached, and Coach Dungeon and his staff do a really good job, had their kids ready to go, and it was definitely an odd game to say the least. We Had first and goal inside the 5. Our first drive came away with no points. Same thing with our second drive, had first and goal at the half-yard line, came away with no points. And so it was just a weird game. I thought at first our defense was on its heels. They scored their first 2 possessions. And then I thought in the second half, our defense played pretty good, still had some mistakes here and there. But I was kind of pleased with how our defense played in the second half. Our offense moved the ball up and down the field in the first half, and in the second half it was a different story. Can hardly get a first down, and it was just a weird game. But give credit to Godley. They did a good job. Their players executed well, and the coaches coached really well.
I know as a coach, you never want to lose, but if you're going to lose a game, I've always felt that the last game before a bye, especially when you're about to start district, isn't the worst time to lose, because look at what y'all done before then. You were 4-0, and as you know, you can warn the kids about being too overconfident or resting on your records, but that's what happens. I feel that this is one of those losses that can bring you back to the working table, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. I sure hope so. I mean, I told our kids after the game, don't let it define our season. I thought I told our coaches, I thought we needed a wake-up call. Our kids, our coaches, everybody. And I think that obviously that this was something that could benefit us, and going into district, going into, this week being a bye week, going into district next week, because records it's a cliche thing to say, but it really doesn't matter what your record is those first 5 games for us. It's the next 5 that really matter. So we just got to find a way for these next 5 games to, do well and compete and find a way to get in the playoffs.
Well, as y'all leave the non-district schedule and you're about to start on the district schedule, what are your thoughts on your Rams team this year? What are the things that you feel that y'all are doing well, that as long as y'all keep doing those well, y'all will get that playoff spot?
Yeah, going into last week, I would have told you that I thought we adjusted well coming out in the second half. I thought we were, we did really well with our halftime adjustments. Until last week, defensively, I thought we did. Offensively, we didn't execute real well in the second half, and we still have some question marks. We're still after 5 games, I feel like our offensive line's coming along and getting better. We just got to continue to keep on getting better with that young group, and we've got some guys that we've known this in the first 5 games that can carry the ball, and we've got to find ways to get our receivers the ball in space, and we got to continue to work on that. And then defensively, it's just kind of a domino effect of things as far as just finding where our guys fit for what their offense is doing, and still have some question marks, but I still think that this, we haven't hit our peak yet. I still think we got a lot of room to improve, and I think that we'll get that done. I think that we'll get kids playing at their best when it matters, when the district comes around.
With it being bye week, I know where you played and the program you came from and the program that I came from, and I played way long earlier before you did. But bye week used to be, let's get physical again. We're going to have 2 live scrimmages, position battles, and all that. More and more over the last 10 years, talking with coaches, more and more like, you know what? No, we don't hit as much during the bye week unless we have to work on some specific things. We want to freshen the legs up. You, as a head coach, which way do you lean?
I just think it's a year-to-year thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I think it's a year-to-year thing where your ball club's at the time. Right now, we're banged up, and so we're not being as physical as we usually are on a bye week, and we're just trying to get our kids, like you said, freshen our legs up and let them get treatment. They're all practicing, and I don't let them just go to the training room during practice, but we're practicing, but we're just being smart about how we do things.
And for you as coaches, are y'all starting to look at game film? Now, you're in a unique position with your district where everybody's off this week. So have you started looking at game film of your district opponents, or are you just sticking with your first one in Bridgeport?
No, just sticking for the first one in Bridgeport. That's the one we got to win. That's the only one that's on our schedule right now is going into Bridgeport, and we're trying to find ways to figure out how to beat them coming off a loss. And so our number one concern right now is the Bridgeport Bulls and trying to find a way to beat them next Friday night.
Well, and you know where where this program was when you came in, and one of the things that they've tended to do is start hot, and then when they'd hit district, get that first district loss, and then kind of fizzle out. This is a game next week that you get off 1-0. I think the sky's the limits for the Rams.
Yeah, no, I think that's just important for our kids is take it week by week. This week, obviously you don't have an opponent this week. It's more focusing on ourselves as far as what we're doing offensively and defensively this week, working on some things that we need to work on. But our kids know we're going week by week. I mean, honestly, we're starting Monday morning to getting ready for the Bulls, although the coaches have been watching film already on them, getting prepared, not having to, work as hard. I'd say as hard, not work as many hours this weekend, getting a head start of going into next week. And so we've been doing that. We've been doing a few things, showing them a few things that they've been doing so far this season, but we'll really lock in on Bridgeport on Monday and just take it 1 week at a time.
What will you be doing on Friday night of the Mineral Wells bye week?
There is a really good chance that I'm headed to Pilot Point, Texas. I'm going to go watch the old man coach. So I don't. That's probably what I'm going to be doing. Probably going to another Friday night football game, Terry.
So when you watch him coach, in the back of your mind, are you trying to guess the plays? Are you trying to play the scenarios? Are you just trying to watch as a fan, or can you even watch football as a fan?
No, I love watching football as a fan. But when I go to his games, I try to predict what's coming, what he's going to do, and it's fun. It's fun to watch. It's fun to hear him yell at other coaches and not me. So I get enjoyment out of that. So no, it's fun. I enjoy going to watch his games and being down there and seeing how the kids. I'll watch their film just about every week and watch how they progress throughout the season. And so I'm going to go try to root for the orange and black on Friday and see if they can't get them a W.
Here at L4 Media, we talk high school football, 4A, 3A, and 2A in Texas. We talk East Texas sports. We talk NFL, guy talk, movie and booze. We also talk wrestling and so much more. And you can see it all on our YouTube channel at L4 Media Company. Like and subscribe.
Reminder, if you have any questions, thoughts, or comments for Coach Worrell, just email them to me, Terry at S2SSport.com. I think the bye came at the perfect week for the Rams. Tough loss, but for the most part, very good non-district portion of the Rams schedule being 4-1. Now, the thing is, and we talk about it, as I asked him, how do you continue that? Because, they started out last year 2-0 and then lost one, then 1-1, and they were 3-1 going in the district, and then they lose 4 straight. And then I think the year before, almost the exact same thing happened. I think they were 3-0 going into non-district, or going into district, or maybe 3-0, and then they had one more non-district game, and then district play started, and they lost 7 in a row. And so, how do you battle that same thing again in 2021? They won 3 in a row, and then lost 3 in a row, and then won 1, and then lost 3 in a row again. And so, figuring that out, how to get that bounce back after that, tough non-district loss. I think that week in between the bye week really is perfect. Can kind of build to get the kids back up. You got Bridgeport to start district play. And, of course, we'll talk more about the Bulls next week. But, on the year, they're 2-3. They lost to Wichita City View and River Oaks, Castleberry, and Ranch View. Now, the City View one, not a shock. Castleberry, but I'll tell you what, that Ranch View one, that one kind of surprised me. So they're also, of course, on bye. The whole district is on bye. But, yeah, bye week, it's done. We get back to football games next week. I do apologize for last week. Us having some weird issues just during the week didn't allow us to have a show, but we're glad to be back now. And we'll be glad to be back next week right here on the Mineral Wells Football Show, brought to you by Jack Powell Ford on S2S Sports, part of L4 Media.